Right now, as you are watching this, there are nearly 2 billion cameras pointed at the world. 2 billion. That is roughly 1 camera for every 4 people alive. Some of them are watching a parking lot. Some are watching a highway. Some are watching you sleep because you bought them and installed them yourself. And that is the part nobody predicted. Every dystopian novel, every paranoid science fiction film, every warning about the surveillance state assumed the same thing. Cameras would be forced on us by governments. The terrifying twist is that we did it to ourselves, willingly, enthusiastically, with free 2-day shipping and a coupon code. And the consequences have been stranger than any writer ever imagined. Let us start with the dumbest bank robbery in recorded history, because it perfectly captures the moment when cameras changed everything. Pittsburgh, 1995. A man walks into a bank in the middle of the afternoon. No mask, no disguise. He is smiling. He pulls out a gun, pushes it through the teller window, and politely asks for all the money. The teller hands over about $5,000. The man leaves. He does the same thing at a second bank the same day. Again, no mask, no hat, no sunglasses. Just his bare face, grinning at the security cameras, like he is posing for a yearbook photo. The police arrested him that evening. It was not difficult. They had his face on tape from 2 different angles. When the officer showed up at his door, the man was genuinely confused. He kept saying the same thing. "But I wore the lemon juice. I wore the lemon juice." Here is what happened. This man had read somewhere that lemon juice could be used as invisible ink. You write something on paper with lemon juice, and the writing only appears when you hold the paper over heat. His brilliant conclusion: if lemon juice makes ink invisible, it must make faces invisible too. So he smeared lemon juice all over his face before the robbery. To be safe, he even ran a test. First, he rubbed his face with lemon juice and took a Polaroid photo. The photo came out blurry, or he missed his own head in the frame, or the camera malfunctioned. Either way, his face was not in the picture. Proof enough, he was invisible. Science had spoken. The experiment was airtight. He was ready. A psychologist named David Dunning read about this case the following year and could not stop thinking about it. Together with his graduate student Justin Kruger, he published a now famous paper describing what the world knows as the Dunning-Kruger effect, the phenomenon where someone is so incompetent at something that they lack the ability to recognize their own incompetence. The lemon juice robber did not just fail. He failed so completely that he could not even understand that he had failed. But here is the deeper point. This robbery was not just a story about one spectacularly stupid criminal. It was a turning point. By 1995, security cameras had already made a certain kind of crime nearly impossible. The old-fashioned bank robbery walk in, demand cash, walk out was dying. Not because criminals got smarter, because cameras got everywhere. And they kept spreading. The numbers today are almost absurd. London has over 500,000 surveillance cameras. Beijing reportedly has over 2 million. In the United States, nearly half of all homes now have some kind of video monitoring doorbell cameras, indoor cameras, baby monitors with recording capability, backyard cameras watching the garden. The average American is captured on camera an estimated 70 to 100 times per day. None of this was imposed by a shadowy government agency. The home surveillance camera was invented in 1969 by a nurse named Marie Van Britten Brown and her husband Albert, an electrical engineer living in Queens, New York. The late 60s were not a gentle time in New York City, and Marie wanted a way to see who was at her front door without opening it. Their system was simple but revolutionary, a camera that could slide between multiple peepholes connected to a television screen inside the apartment with a remote-controlled electric lock and a panic button that contacted the police. The press loved it. Marie emphasized in interviews that even a woman living alone could now protect herself. They got the patent, the world took the idea, and ran with it. Today, smart doorbells with built-in cameras sell 500,000 units a year in the United States alone. They have become so widespread that they function as an unofficial extension of the police surveillance network. Some of the newest models can recognize faces in real time. In a major American city, it is now practically impossible to walk more than a few blocks without your face being captured and potentially identified. The effect on crime has been measurable and dramatic. A study in Chicago found that 8,000 street cameras reduced crime in the city by 12%. Swedish police reported that widespread video surveillance lowered overall crime by 20 to 25% across the country. British authorities said that facial recognition cameras in London led to over 1,000 arrests of wanted suspects in a single year. But the statistics only tell part of the story. The more interesting part is what happens at the individual level. In an Oregon State prison, a local television crew interviewed roughly 100 inmates serving time for burglary. Every single one of them said the same thing. The biggest obstacle in their profession was home cameras. Most of them admitted they would abandon burglary entirely if they thought there was a camera inside. A separate survey of 500 inmates conducted by the University of North Carolina produced identical results. Cameras were not just a deterrent. For many professional thieves, they were a career ender. Home cameras have also produced some genuinely bizarre discoveries. An American actor named Joe Cummings installed a camera in his kitchen after noticing that food kept disappearing from his refrigerator. He assumed his girlfriend was snacking at night. What the camera revealed instead was a complete stranger, a woman crawling out of a storage space in the middle of the night, eating his food, and crawling back in before dawn. She had apparently been living inside his house for weeks. The video went viral and collected over 20 million views. An almost identical case occurred in southern Japan. A homeowner in Kyushu noticed food vanishing and installed a camera. Police discovered a homeless woman who had been living in his closet for over a year. She had her own mattress and personal belongings in there. She moved around the apartment only when the owner was away or asleep. If she had not kept raiding the refrigerator, she might have stayed there indefinitely. In South Korea, police used home surveillance footage to catch a serial underwear thief who had been terrorizing a neighborhood for months. In Brazil, a nanny was caught on a hidden camera abusing a toddler. The footage led to an immediate arrest and a national conversation about monitoring childcare. In Australia, a doorbell camera captured a delivery driver carefully placing a package on a porch, looking around, and then urinating on the welcome mat. He was identified and fired within hours. Cameras have not just changed crime. They have fundamentally altered how we understand what happens when nobody is supposed to be watching. And then there are the mysteries that cameras have killed. Every generation before ours had UFOs, cryptids, and unexplained phenomena. Bigfoot was spotted regularly in the Pacific Northwest. The Loch Ness Monster surfaced every few years for a blurry photograph. Strange lights appeared over cities and baffled investigators for decades. In 2018, bizarre lights were spotted moving in chaotic patterns over Milwaukee. 20 years earlier, this would have become a classic UFO case, investigated, debated, and never resolved. Instead, a local news station sent up a drone with a camera and solved the mystery in 30 minutes. The lights were seagulls. Ordinary seagulls reflecting the glow of street lamps. Mystery over, credits roll. No conspiracy, just birds. The pattern is consistent. The more cameras there are, the fewer unexplained phenomena survive. It turns out that most of the unknown was simply the unseen. Once you can actually look at something clearly from multiple angles, in high definition, the supernatural tends to evaporate. Ghosts, aliens, and cryptids thrive in darkness and bad resolution. They do not do well under 4,000 cameras with night vision. Perhaps the most unexpected consequence of the camera revolution is what people actually want to watch. Given the ability to surveil anything, governments, neighbors, strangers, criminals, the most popular surveillance content in the world turns out to be cats. Pet cameras strapped to the necks of free-roaming house cats have generated videos with over 200 million views. People are far more interested in watching a tabby cat jump a fence and stalk a pigeon than in monitoring their fellow humans. George Orwell imagined a world where cameras were instruments of terror, cold, mechanical eyes enforcing obedience. The reality turned out to be weirder, and in many ways, funnier. We built Orwell's surveillance state voluntarily, not because anyone forced us, but because we wanted to catch porch pirates stealing our Amazon packages, watch our dogs while we were at work, and find out once and for all whether the neighbor's cat was the one pooping in our flower bed. The cameras came, crime dropped, Bigfoot disappeared. And 2 billion lenses keep watching, 24 hours a day, whether anyone is paying attention or not. Big Brother is watching. He just turned out to be us.